make a three-pointer.
I was losing my mind. I was like, why is he shooting three-pointers so much?
He made a couple early. That's the worst thing that happens to him, too, because he makes a couple. And then he's like,
Drew Holiday only having 2 points.
yeah, he played bad. Right.
But I mean, when you have to go back from being...
Yeah, very cheap.
Yeah, come on. He's only making like $20 million a year.
Yeah, right.
But instead, I went
is he making $20 million as your two guard or as your point guard who's got to distribute?
I like Drew though. He just didn't play very well.
Yeah, he just had a bad game. I mean, it's like we talked about last night. The idea that
he didn't jack up 9 threes. I know that.
Yes.
See what hurts when he's jacking up threes? He's one of the best rebounders, best offensive rebounders, and he's out.
Who, me?
50 feet.
Thanks.
Yeah. How'd you know?
Come away thinking more
That's what I think of as a good day.
I know y'all are always talking about me when I'm out
You
the
got
room.
Troy's number?
Hey, Dave, I'm going to send it.
No, I'm texting.
Oh, okay. I'm going to send it.
Do I need to call him now?
No.
No.
Jinx.
Troy, Dan, let's see.
No.
504-491-9053.
Are we on the air yet?
We're on YouTube, yes.
Well, you just gave out Troy Dannon's phone number.
No, I think it was behind, but
I got it.
Don't worry, Dave. No one wants to talk to you on YouTube.
Butthead YouTube, just FYI.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay,
5
dude.
seconds.
Administrate.
Love you, Clyde.
deadzone.org.
Showtime.
Dunc and Holder on a Thursday, October 19th. Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan, Clyde Verdun is here.
Yo.
Clyde's day to shine. Of course, it's college pick'em day, and
Super Clyde.
I just know that.
Stop trying to kiss up now, Dave. We all know. We all heard what you said during the break, man.
I just know that I incorrectly picked the LSU game last week. I incorrectly picked the Tulane game last week, so I'm just fearing for my life.
You got the Saints
college
right.
picks. Hey, Saints are going to the Super Bowl, right?
Interested to get your pick on the Saints this week. I think it's a dicey pick.
That's fair.
It's a dicey little pick.
Well, that's a Friday
I know.
pick.
I know.
Come on, Friday pick.
I like that you're wearing the angry wave in support. I guess is that the right word?
Yeah.
Representing. That's a great hat.
I just like the hat.
That's a great hat.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not some like Tulane.
I know you're
honk,
not. I know you're not.
I look confused. I've got a purple. Yeah. LSU-looking polo, and I'm a total homer. I'm a total local
Where's your
homer.
Rummel underwear on?
He's saving that for tomorrow.
Let me see.
Rummel suspenders.
Although
I left my Rummel Speedo at home.
All you need is a little bit of gold, and you're already ready for Mardi Gras, dude. We've still got about 80 some odd days till that happens, so at least you're early.
Here's a question for you. Okay, when you go to a game, and very rarely do we get to go to a game for our schools, or are you the guy that wears head to toe purple and gold, or you just go to a game wearing your regular clothes? What do you do? I'm not a color bearer.
I wear it. I feel like I stick out like a sore thumb if I don't wear it. So I wear it. Look, and I go to an LSU game, I'm an LSU alum.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so
I'm not judging anybody. I'm just curious.
I wear it, but of course when we cover the games and this, that, the other, I mean you've got to on purpose not wear,
of course,
the colors.
Yeah, I don't think you want to go to the press box
with my pom-poms.
Wearing your tiger suspenders.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good look, bro.
Yeah, you're wearing a jumpsuit, full regalia.
I've seen reporters wear purple and gold.
What?
Yes.
Bobby Hebert?
Well, didn't he get thrown out of the press box, so he can wear whatever he wants, right?
Yeah, well, at this point, it doesn't matter.
Well, Bobby's the first to admit he's not a journalist.
He's not a journalist. I'm not a journalist.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll be talking some LSU Ole Miss. Of course, they play Saturday night up in Oxford. We'll have Neil McCready from RebelGrove.com. He will join us around 10:30. Top of the 11 o'clock hour, we'll have Josh Katzenstein talk with us about Saints and Packers. And then 11:15, 11:20, we'll have Tulane Athletic Director Troy Dannon will jump on the show. Of course, Tulane, big game this weekend at Ullman Stadium, taking on number 16 South Florida, and he's going to hop on to talk with us about the progress of Tulane football and about Ullman Fest. Look, everyone else throws a festival. Why can't Tulane? I think it's a great idea, so they're throwing a big, massive party, essentially, on campus leading up to the game, and I know there's fireworks after the game, so they're doing it up big for this. And the game's on ESPN too, and of course you can hear it right here on your flagship station, Sports 1280 AM. Of course, turn down the sound and listen to the graph on TV. But yeah, it's going to be a big to-do Saturday at Tulane.
Yeah, I wish I could go. I think it'll be a cool experience. It's great getting people back on campus. It just validates the decision that the school made a few years ago. I mean, it was a big decision and a huge investment to build an on-campus facility, but it's just so much better out there. You can see the student involvement, and I know there was some pushback from the neighborhood, which is typical of New Orleans, the NIMBY set, but let's face it, this is good for everybody involved over there. I don't think it's created a lot of traffic problems, and heck, they should have great weather this weekend. It looks like it's going to cooperate, so you'll be there.
I will be there.
That'll be a really, I think, cool experience, and I think they're going to put up a good game. I just don't know if they can win. South Florida looks pretty formidable.
It's not that I don't think that Tulane can beat a viable opponent. I just think South Florida might be just too good.
Yeah,
I mean, they're one of the best teams right now in the country, honestly. And so, but look, if they win that game, massive, of course, it'd be gigantic. And like I said, I understand that Tulane folks might be a little down after the FIU loss. Look, they played great the two previous games. They laid an egg. I mean, that's all you can call it. They laid an egg. And I do think, though, that this team has the ability to kind of get back up on its feet and rebound. So I'm curious to see how they play. But one team that is already off to a slow start, the New Orleans Pelicans. They go down 103-91 at Memphis. And I know, Clyde, we were talking right before the show. Jeff, you were talking just the same thing. It just looked sloppy. It's like that they were just discombobulated after the first quarter. The whole game, I was watching it, and it just did not look crisp on the Pelicans' part. And I don't know if that has to do with no Rajon Rondo. I mean, they better get used to it.
I don't want to hear that. I mean, they're already making excuses. Come on.
Me? I'm not making excuses.
I'm just anybody that says that, look, give me a break, man. They played without Rajon Rondo for all last year. And I know they're incorporating him in the offense. That's just an excuse. I keep hearing the excuse, the ball movement wasn't good. Well, why wasn't it good? I know it wasn't good. Why wasn't it good? Oftentimes we hear that, and I'm just curious, is the ball sticking somewhere? What's the problem?
It's got too much stick and it fell into a pothole.
That's what it was, guys.
I think the problem I see developing, and it's a problem at the NBA level when you have great talents like Davis and Cousins, is the other guys on the team start standing around kind of watching them because they're so ball dominant and they're so good that it becomes a two-man game. And that's what it became last night. They shot almost half the shots or more than half the shots of the team. And yes, they are the most talented players on the team, but you've got to get other people involved somehow. That's the challenge for Davis and Cousins.
Yeah, Anthony Davis had 33. Boogie had 28. Davis had 18 rebounds. Cousins 10. But you look at the scoring elsewhere, the distribution was essentially non-existent, and you get 8 points off the bench. I mean, that's not going to get it done. And Drew Holiday, rocky first game, 2 of 11 from the field, 4 points. I mean, you need more from him, considering how much money did this guy just get paid. Pretty sure that you need more than 4 points.
But again, he was working at a position that he was not working at in the preseason, because when you had Rajon Rondo, he didn't need to be.
He's played his whole career there.
No,
I mean, give me a break.
But that's not necessarily, though, that the idea that he shouldn't. Now, granted, you have an off night. Of course, you don't want it to be the season opener on the road. But I think, like we were talking about off air, my biggest concern is the bench points. And, we were talking about this, especially if anybody watched the Boston-Cleveland game and Golden State-Houston game on Wednesday night, to see two of the better teams, clearly, in the Western Conference, and what they have in terms of what they have not only in the starting roles and the distribution they have, but what they have coming off the bench. If you don't have a quality bench in the NBA, if you don't have guys, those lulls are going to happen, especially if you're talking about the second quarter, third quarter, when you have to take your guys out to give them a breather. You can't have guys like Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins playing almost 40 minutes a game. Like, you're going to run them down before you even get to All-Star break.
But the way they're doing it, Clyde, they're staggering to where one's on the court at all times.
Yeah.
I think the way they've staggered it is right. I mean, they start out together, and then Davis goes to the bench, and then Cousins goes after that, and they kind of stagger it. So they're always going to have one of the big two out there. I just think those two guys need to learn, and it's part of developing into a superstar. They need to learn how to make other players better. I think and it's something I wrote about Drew Brees earlier this year, and I talked to him about it. I think it's something that LeBron James has learned, and it takes time to learn how to do that. He's become a great facilitator. I'm talking about LeBron James, and suddenly his teammates are better, and everybody thinks, he's got better talent around him. Well, no, he had the same talent. He's learned how to, exploit their strengths and hide their weaknesses. That's what great players do. It's what Drew Brees does with this perimeter core of guys that really aren't terrific high draft picks, but he somehow makes them believe in themselves. They've got to learn how to do that, and I know that's a lot for young players like Davis and Cousins, but I don't think the players around them have no talent. I just think it's a learning process.
Well, I would look at, and this is not going to change, they have no depth, like zero. All you got to do is look at the minutes played between the two teams. And the Grizzlies, heck, their bench might have played more minutes than the starters.
Except for Mike Conley, because he's the boss.
Right. Well, he played 33 minutes, but let's see. Dylan Brooks played 29. He came off the bench and scored 19. Tyreek Evans, remember him, scored 11, played 20 minutes. Mario Chalmers played 26. Brandon Wright played 27. These are not your starters for Memphis.
Right.
This is not gonna change where they have a lack of depth, and so it caught up to them in this game. I'm curious to see how much it catches up to them against opponents that are weaker. Because look, Memphis, I think we can all agree, is potentially a playoff team.
Oh,
yeah, but I don't
absolutely.
think I don't think they're any more talented than the Pelicans.
I would agree. I would actually say the frontline players, the Pelicans, of course, are more talented.
Right.
But they don't have enough on the bench to where you can. If you need a jolt, you can go find a jolt. They don't have that. They just don't.
Jordan Crawford can be that guy. He was off last night. He hit a couple shots early.
Well, he went 2 for 4.
Yeah, but he's a guy that can fill it up and get when he gets hot. I mean, instant grits, that's his nickname, and he can do that. I mean, they've got some guys. Ian Clark, is a good role player. I just think they've got to learn if they're going to funnel this offense through two big men. I mean, this is an experiment, and they're going to have to figure it out. And I don't want, again, I'm old school, call me crotchety old Jeff, whatever you want to call me. I don't want DeMarcus Cousins.
I call you crusty, not crotchety.
Oh, whatever. Well, Marcus calls me crotchety.
You just spilled coffee on your crotch during the show.
I don't want DeMarcus Cousins.
That's too much information, dude.
Shooting 9 3-pointers. I don't care what you say. Yes, he can hit a 3-pointer. I don't want my best offensive rebounder 30 feet from the basket, 6'11", jacking up threes. I'm sorry. Maybe the old guy that doesn't know the new NBA. I just don't like that. I think it's counterproductive to good offensive basketball when your best offensive rebounder is going to be basically eliminated unless he just comes crashing from the 30 feet away.
Right.
Which sometimes can happen.
Last I checked, he's not Craig Hodges or he shouldn't
and
be out there firing
I know
up
he
threes.
can hit it, and everybody's going to cite, he's 35% shooting. That's not what matters. I mean, the rest of the team has to feel comfortable with where they're at. And if you're 6'11" guys coming up and jacking a 3, then everybody else, is that send Drew Holiday to the offensive glass? Who's in there? Dante Cunningham, I guess? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do.
Well, Cunningham ended up with 9 rebounds, so yeah, I guess that's what they figure. But it just looked sloppy, and I'm very curious to see when we get up close and personal on Friday night in the Smoothie King Center when they take on the Golden State Warriors. Depth is going to be a problem, and I know Golden State actually lost the game. I mean, that doesn't.
But it was a fantastic game.
It doesn't really happen very often.
No,
but
it doesn't.
It's not like Houston's some scrub. I mean, they're
not.
The second or third best team in the West, maybe the second. Yeah.
I would say they're probably third. I still would give the edge probably to San Antonio more than anyone else. But they're knocking on the door. And
right.
This might be the year where they finally crash through and maybe get to that Western Conference Finals again, where it could be a rematch of what we saw for opening night.
Right. So I'm very curious to see. I'll be at that game as well, man. I'm like venturing off. I'm like spreading my wings. I'm going to be writing a column on Pelicans.
Oh, I can't wait.
Warriors. I'm going to be writing a column on Tulane, South Florida. What's the matter with
going
me?
on?
Larry expanding his
What is the
sports
matter with me?
horizons.
Exactly.
Sooner or later, he's going to be becoming prep volleyball and high school soccer.
Well, you're going to have a good column no matter what on Friday night because either the Warriors are going to lose and be 0-2, the defending champs.
That's a huge story.
Or the Pelicans are going to be 0-2.
Right.
Either way, it's kind of a big story.
So I could just make panic wherever.
Yes.
Just cause havoc.
Yes.
That's typically what I do, right?
I'm curious to see how the Pelicans respond. I mean, I think they're going to play well at Friday night. They get the home crowd. It'll be interesting to see what kind of crowd they get. I mean, this is the defending NBA champs. So they don't sell this thing out.
One quick thing,
bad
guys.
sign.
One thing they cannot do. We talked about this a little bit earlier. They scored 34 points in the first quarter. They only scored 57 points for the rest of the game.
I mean, that's going to get you beat.
And here's one last thing.
Almost every night.
We could talk about this too, maybe after the break. I stopped in 2 different places last night, uptown. Neither one of them had the game on. I had to ask at both places.
Unbelievable.
Season opener.
Well, I don't think people realize it's coming. They're Saint-centric and football-centric. And it's
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. So let's take a quick break right here. And when we get back, we'll talk some more crazy Pelican stuff with old crotchety Jeff Duncan.
I love it.
You put that on yourself,
Love it.
Mr. Crotchety.
No, that's what
We're
Marcus
talking about
Carver's put on me.
This is the week of Jeff's old crotchety rants. So it's Thursday. We got one more day. I can't wait.
And then the next week, and then the next week, and then the next week. So it's never going to go away here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com,
potholes.
and the iHeartRadio app. Clyde's here, Jeff's here, Dave's there, I'm here. We're Duncan Holder.
So look at this sign that was at one of the houses I looked at yesterday on my house tour.
The second annual Wine on the
You
River.
got to be kidding me.
November 11th.
You got to be kidding me. You got to send that to
It's on
Dave.
sale now.
You got to text that to Dave. You got to be kidding me.
No, it was I
They-
took it just to show you all.
That's your house.
No.
They're waiting for you.
Southern
I got
Glazers,
sent to it.
WGNO and NOLA 38.
Is that great or
Wine
what?
on the River, presented by Southern Glazers.
That's
WGO-TV,
that's
ABC, and
that's your
NOLA
house.
It's hilarious.
That's gotta be your
It's
house.
not, though, unfortunately. Error.
Limited VIP and general admission on sale now at wineontherivernola.com. Proceeds benefit the Louisiana
send it to
Hospitality
him right now.
Foundation.
The Home Depot now has life-proof vinyl plank flooring starting at just $279 a square foot. The warm look of wood flooring with a surface that's tough, scratch-resistant, and completely 100% waterproof. So, if life brings you things
All right, 2 minutes.
All right.
spill, you'll be completely 100%
And you got that guest list
worry-proof.
okay?
And that is a beautiful feeling.
Yes, sir.
Proof vinyl plank flooring starting at only $279 a square foot. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only. See store for details.
Attention all women who have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer. In February 2016, Johnson & Johnson baby powder was ordered to pay $72 million by a jury to women who died of ovarian cancer after 35 years of using the talcum baby powder product. Multiple studies show women who have long-term use of baby powder products with talcum for feminine hygiene can increase the risk of contracting ovarian cancer. If you or a family member has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer and used Johnson & Johnson or Shower to Shower baby powder prior to the diagnosis, call Talcum Baby Powder Helpline today. 800-457-3280. You may be
Nice. That's awesome.
You got that text.
How about that?
unless there is a recovery.
Karma, man. That's got to
great.
be his house.
Unused talcum baby powder based
funny.
product.
He had that made up after yesterday's show.
Exactly.
No, I actually saw that while I
He
was
was
on
like, signs are us.
I was on a house tour and saw it, and I said, I've got to take a photo of this.
457
These guys are gonna love it.
3280.
That's awesome.
3280.
Each morning before you wake, you dream of breakfast like mom used to make. Eggs, bacon, potatoes too. Can't wait to eat all this amazing food. Then the alarm bell rings and no one's cooking you anything. Real life is hard when your morning is hell. Have breakfast with a fried egg shell.
Introducing the new Naked Egg Taco. Crispy bacon, seasoned potatoes, and melty cheese wrapped in a fried egg shell. Only at Taco Bell. At participating stores for a limited time during breakfast hours.
In your attic, fully covered means fully insulated. If you can see your ceiling joists, you're losing heat and money. But you can easily add blow-in insulation yourself, and the Home Depot can help. The proper amount of insulation keeps your house warm and your energy bills down. And when you need more, it shows.
10 seconds.
Gets here. Save on insulation and get a free blow-in machine rental with any 10-bag purchase. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Come, my lady, come, my lady. You're my butterfly, sugar, baby.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Pretty little thing.
All right, Jeff, if you went to 2 places and there was no Pelicans game on, you better call them out. Come on, get them on board.
No, I can't call them out. What was amazing is that nobody
I can guess one.
Nobody at either establishment even knew the game was on.
Who do we need to talk? Who do I need to put a call into for?
Both had the World Series on, which is big.
Well, the NLCS or ALCS.
Yes, it was NLCS.
Whichever CS was on.
It was NLCS, and how did that come out, Larry? I'm sure you were happy.
I fell asleep before the game ended, but the Cubs at least won one, so
They did.
I'm not confident they're going to come back. But whatever.
Jake Arrieta with a nice performance, and Baez, right? 2 home runs, I think.
Yeah. So hey, like I said, I'm not. I'll get back on board when it's 3-3, and that may never happen.
Of course you will. You're the worst kind of fan, Larry.
I watch them all. I just know what the circumstances are. The Dodgers are better. Just period. Their bullpen is way better than the Cubs' bullpen. Their starters this year are better. It's not the Cubs' year. It's just
they've
not
been the best team in baseball all year, the Dodgers.
Right.
Yes. I mean, they're loaded. Their front office has done an incredible job. They've got great young talent. They've got great veteran talent. I mean, they don't have a weak spot in their lineup, really.
Well, they went and locked up all kinds of relievers to set up Kenley Jansen, and so they're stacked.
Yeah, they're stacked. They got an ace. They've got these young players like Cody Bellinger and Corey Seager. I mean,
Corey Seager's out, but at least they've got the guy from Game of Thrones, who's mashing balls everywhere.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Justin Turner led the league in hitting, right?
Shout out to Herbie.
But it'll be massive if I don't want to break your heart, but if it gets to be a Yankees-Dodgers World Series, we were talking off air. When's the last time? Is in the 80s, I think, those two.
No, in the 70s, the last time. It was the Reggie Jackson 3-home run. That's the last time they played in the World Series.
Wow. Well, it'll be huge for baseball to gain some interest with those two longtime powerhouses meeting in the World Series. And the Yankees are kind of an upstart, right? They were a wild card.
Right.
Correct. And the Dodgers will be the Goliath.
So you're just discounting the Astros? It's over for them?
No, actually, I'm not at all. I think the Astros can easily win the series.
I'm surprised that the Yankees are up 3-2. Like I
don't think it should be.
But I just think the Astros are a better team.
They are, but I mean, you have to understand the makeup of this team and where they've been and how they've built this squad over the course of the last few years in the draft. Really using their farm system, like to get to this stage so soon. I think you saw pieces of that last year. I think it's a lot of what the Indians have done with really just building up their farm roster and kind of working their guys through Class A, Triple A, up until they finally get to the majors. But once you finally get to that point with a team that maybe is a little bit more loaded, maybe has a little bit more veteran leadership, it's going to be a little bit of a culture shock for them. So if they don't do it this year, you know that year is coming.
I guess you could look at it, say, like the Cubs, they got to the NLCS and they just weren't ready for prime time yet, and they got beat up by the Mets.
Right, the Mets.
So, but I just think the Astros should be ready. Like, I feel like they've had their maturation process. You know, they get to the playoffs and lose, and then now they got to the ALCS, and look, it's not like Alex Bregman's never played in a big game before. I mean, it's I know it's a little bigger stage, but he should be fine, and they've got their players are good enough. The problem there is you look at their pitching, and they've got basically 2 starters, and Keuchel got beat up.
That was a big loss last night for him.
That was huge.
Yeah, he's kind of owned the Yankees, and for them to break through against him, I think clearly turns the series momentum in their favor. But now they go back to Houston, right?
Yeah.
So they go back to Houston. They'll have the home field advantage. I like their chances.
Oh, boy, and I'm getting corrected. Yada, yada, yada. Of course, sure. Dodgers, honk, Todd Graffinini.
1981.
The Dodgers beat the Yankees in 6.
Yeah.
Fernando Valenzuela's rookie year.
I
blacked out on that. Whatever. Who cares? Todd, I'm wearing your Angry Wave hat. Give me a little credit. I know you can't see it because you're not watching on YouTube, but give me a little credit, but whatever. All right, fine, whatever.
All right, enough baseball.
81.
We've talked baseball.
When he calls in, boy, it's going to be heated. Call in, Todd. We're waiting on you.
Listen to Clyde. Clyde's stirring the pot today.
I tried to needle Todd yesterday, and he would not take it. I just said, good luck with the Cubs. You know, you guys are going to sweep the Cubs, and he just was not having it.
As long as he doesn't talk about Chelsea, I'm good.
Oh, and speaking of
Chelsea
soccer,
Clinton?
Chelsea
I'm
Football
a Chelsea
Club.
Never
too.
heard of them.
Oh, so
Don't even know
sad,
what
Jeff.
that means.
So last night I went had some interviews with the U.S. women's national team at the
that's
Dome,
right.
and
They play tonight.
Yes, they play tonight at the Dome. I'm interested to see what kind of crowd they get, but boy, I tell you, it was so refreshing. It'll be like you going to spend time at Tulane and the Pelicans. It's just refreshing to cover different things. We talked to Carly Lloyd and
The GOAT.
yes, I mean,
GOAT.
very impressive. But they're just so I don't know how to describe it. So professional, polite, patient, with kind of rote questions from some of the media here in town. And they were out at Saints practice yesterday, so they were talking. Carly Lloyd was talking about how she and Drew Brees shared the old guy, or as you all call it, the crotchety old person, defense, because both of them are veterans in their respective sports. And she was adamant that she can keep playing for a while, and Drew Brees will keep playing for a while. But I'm interested to see what kind of crowd they get at the Dome tonight, because last time they came here they got 32,000, which is a huge crowd.
That's great.
But I don't think it'll be that big tonight. I think the last time it was Abby Wambach's
last game.
Yeah, so but I still think they're going to draw a good crowd because they're wildly popular, and they may. I think you could argue that they have the largest following of any women's team sport in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, wherever they go, I mean, they go all over the country and they draw.
Cincinnati is definitely one of the growing hotbeds of soccer, especially in the country, because we know right now with MLS expansion, they're looking at a bunch of different cities. FC Cincinnati, which made a huge run in the U.S. Open Cup, one of the Cinderella teams, they're vying for an MLS franchise. They're hoping that they could possibly pull an MLS franchise, so they're going all out. And I believe the last time when the women went there, there's a player,
Yes,
Rose
young player.
Lavelle, is from Cincinnati.
Correct.
And they went all out for it. So it just helps. You're right, Jeff. They get such a huge following. I mean, so many young girls who play soccer want to see them, and they go all over the country to be able to do it. So I would agree with that.
And now they're carrying the torch for American soccer.
Yeah.
The U.S.
Why is that?
And we asked them about it, and they really, really, sympathized or empathized. I'm not sure what would be correct. They probably can sympathize in that situation with the men. I mean, a bunch of them said they were devastated when the American men lost, because it hurts their cause to some degree.
It does.
And so I think it'll be interesting tonight. I'm interested to see what kind of support they get, and if we continue to attract these kind of friendlies in the future.
It would be great, because I mean that's what we're talking about too. Obviously, we had been talking about a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago, U.S. Soccer and the combined joint bid for the 2026 World Cup came out with its current list of cities. They had knocked off a few, and New Orleans is one of them. And it seemed weird to me, because if you can host a friendly with your women's national team that is the standard Ledbetter in world soccer on the women's stage, we can host that, but we can't be international enough of a city to host potential World Cup matches with as international as the city is. And I understand when we talk about Houston, when we talk about Dallas, Nashville, because at that point we're talking about 60 and 70,000 seat stadiums in some of the bigger metro areas in the South that can host bigger matches. But we're talking about the same thing: traffic, hotel rooms, things like that. I get it, but
maybe our bid wasn't very good. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
I just think Houston would beat out New Orleans because Houston is a bigger soccer.
But it's
bet,
not like
honestly.
NRG Stadium is in a much better location off of the interstate as the Superdome is.
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's more of a hotbed for
you'd
you.
get more hotbed.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I would say that.
That's true. That's
But
absolutely
I think
true.
we're growing and we're going in the right direction. I just wish we could have gotten in the mix a little further.
Yeah.
Let's take a break right here on the show. Coming up next, Neil McCready from RebelGrove.com. Talk LSU Ole Miss. So come on back. Sports 1280 NOLA.com and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
Our forecast on Sports 1280 New Orleans.
This
lost my train
report
of thought.
is brought to you by McDonald's.
How did
Happy
Ben
Thursday from the
Simmons
Fox
do
8
last
Weather
night?
Center.
Ooh,
I'm
he had
meteorologist
like
Shelby Latino, and we have a slightly
25
Night will
25,
fall into the
wow.
60s on both sides of the lake. Looks
Yeah, they
like
played
a little
pretty
more
well. They
humidity is in
They were in
store
the game.
for tomorrow as
They
temperatures
pushed
climb
the,
into the
they
mid
pushed the Wizards
18.
late.
We'll stay
18,
mostly
10,
dry
and
with just a stray shower or two around.
5 assists.
From the
Yeah,
Fox 8
he
Weather
looked
Center,
good,
I'm
and B played
meteorologist
a
Shelby
scant amount of
Latino.
minutes.
Have a great day.
Download
Yeah.
the McDonald's app and get a free large soft drink with any purchase every week. And right now, get any size soft drink, sweet tea, or coffee for just $1 anytime at McDonald's.
I'm still not on the
Limited
Greek
time.
freak
Participation
train
may
yet,
vary.
but
See the
Milwaukee,
box.
Milwaukee.
Get on the train.
McDonald's.
He looked pretty good. He looked pretty good last night.
Here's my point. Boogie and Brow combined for 44 of their 79 shots. So over half their shots.
Half their shots came from two dudes.
And for 11. Ugh.
Yeah, it was not a good night.
From the world-class fishing at Toledo Bend to paddling at Fountainwood to exploring the ancient mounds at Poverty Point World Heritage Site. So fill up your car and staycation right
Here's the other
here
thing.
in our home,
Cousins and
Louisiana.
Davis, 9 turnovers.
Showed
The team had 18 turnovers.
nearly
and
6th. The most viewed primetime broadcast TV had last week was Sunday Night Football with 16.5 million viewers. Netflix does not reveal their own ratings and says Nielsen's are wrong.
All right, we got Neil. We got Nielsen. No, Neil.
Facebook is headed back to the future with a new temporary profile status feature. Users can post short-lived text-only updates of up to 101 characters, sort of like the early days of Facebook when the newsfeed was filled with status updates. Drones over crowds, which could be useful in covering protests. Tech Report, Larry Olson, NBC News Radio.
Increase strength, fuel athletic performance. Get amped at GNC. As part of your workout program, GNC Amp Waybolic Protein is clinically proven to increase strength in just 8 weeks. For a limited time, buy one GNC Amp Protein, get one half off. Mix and match GNC's #1 selling protein between original, power, and ripped powders. Amplify your strength today with buy one, get one half off GNC Amp Protein. Hustle into GNC or visit GNC.com before November 1st. Get undefeated protein.
Here we go.
Only at GNC.
Going deep on the teams you care about. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back, Duncan Holder. Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan. Or high atop Canal Place at the foot of Canal Street. And pleased to be joined by a good buddy, longtime friend of Jeff and me. Neil, appreciate you jumping on the show. And have you kind of had a chance to at least catch your breath with everything that's kind of gone down with Ole Miss these past few months? I mean, it's been a chaotic time for you, I know.
2 years of nonstop craziness. This last, I guess, from summer on with all the freeze stuff to now has been just. You guys can relate to this. It's just one of those deals where there's something kind of every day. But I can't imagine just kind of covering a football program. It almost sounds boring compared to what we've been doing.
Neil, what did that win last night do for the Ole Miss? Not last night, but last weekend. Do for that is Ole Miss, and they got a dominant performance in that game. I'm sure they've got to put a little more pep to their step as they go into this weekend.
Yeah, it did. It for sure did. You know, they had, as you guys know, they had lost to Cal, played at halftime at Auburn. It was 35-3. It was 38-3 early in the third quarter. And, you know, they played a pretty good second half at Auburn, and then they played really well against Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt's not very good, so, you know, I still think there's a lot of question marks. But what it did for the team and is I think it gave them a little confidence. It certainly kind of put a little adrenaline from being kind of a sleeper, if you will, for the fan base, to where I think they're kind of excited. There will be atmosphere there. You know, how good are they? I don't know. They've been able to establish some running game the last 3 halves. They ran the ball well against Vanderbilt. They ran it pretty well in the second half against. Their passing game's really good. Patterson's very talented. He's got a very talented receiving core. They pass block pretty well. When they can't run the ball, and they get into 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, teams are able to really send blitz after them, and that's when Patterson he has a little bit of a habit that, he's a young quarterback. He'll get out of it eventually, but he will bail on a pass play quickly and try to make a play happen with his feet, and sometimes that gets him into trouble. That's been the key for them. They didn't run it at all early in the season. They've run it a little bit here lately. Their ability to run it against LSU will dictate whether they can make this a game or not.
Neil McCready, rebelgrove.com, joining us right here on. And you asked me about the Ed Orgeron Ole Miss storyline, and I said, at least from my end,
it's not. It's not a storyline at all. I mean, he made the comment down there about he has an overrated thing. But regardless,
I mean, you're going to choke on the stick. I mean, just eat the chicken. Why is there a stick? Why?
Good point. I like that.
Exactly. I mean,
you sound a little crotchety.
I mean, I think people put a lot of things in perspective in 10 years. A job that was offered to him that should never have been offered to him. He wasn't ready to be a head coach. I think he would admit that now. I think he didn't have the support system at Ole Miss that he needed to be a successful young coach. He certainly failed. 10 years later, he's the coach at LSU, which is a credit to him. The coach at Ole Miss was like 12. Most of them were 10, 11 years old. They don't remember that. They weren't following Ole Miss at the time. They were
season. What's the environment like there? What are expectations like from Rebels fans? Situation and what happened with Hugh Freeze, or are people upset that the team has struggled? Or
a little bit of all of that. There's certainly some people that think it's a the coaching search. There certainly is a segment that is, pulling from that loop to become the permanent and try something new. And then there's a group that is very angry. Investigation and feels like this is groups. This would have been a team where if there weren't a bowl ban, LSU at home. Well, they get Arkansas at home next week, which is doable. They go to Kentucky. They get Louisiana 6-7 wins perhaps if they beat LSU, and that would get them into a bowl game. And given what season, I think most Ole Miss fans are looking forward to the end of the season, looking forward to getting the sanctions, whatever they are. This chapter's been awfully volatile for the last few years.
Neil McCready, rebelgrove.com. The Ole Miss coaching staff. The defensive coordinator is Wesley McGriff, former Saints, and what has he been able to do with the Rebels?
Kids like playing for him. He's a great motivator. Thing that this has always struck me with people when you bought and paid for, and then you look out and you look at the defense and you say, how's that possible? If they've been just throwing money, how's that possible? If they've been just throwing money at kids, it's where there's some anger there where, people say, well, if we were cheating the way that we were, you either got outbid on a lot of guys or you're the worst cheaters ever. Ken Webster is coming back in. It'd be interesting to see how well he would do with a
do the Rebels have to do?
How well he would do with a.
Do the Rebels have to do?
Just don't have the speed at linebacker and at safety to do that. So they've got to come up, and not put the game strictly in Shea Patterson's hands. LSU's secondary is really good. 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 consistently, you can make some things happen. You get into some 3rd and 11s, 3rd and 12s consistently against that secondary, and they're going to make plays. And they have some momentum right now and some confidence. So, yeah, they've certainly got an opportunity, but it's not a great one.
Neil McCready, rebelgrove.com. Hey, Neil, appreciate it. Why have a stick if you could just pick it up and eat it?
There's a corn dog.
My children have no problem with that.
They're children. You're a grown-up, even though you have the mind of a child. We get this.
There's a lollipop, and then there's like just a piece of hard candy. Which is easier to eat? The lollipop.
No, the stick gets in.
We're ready for that.
Jeff's going to
Filet
eat
mignon on a stick.
Jeff's going to eat a cheeseburger on a stick coming up here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're done.
Line.
How about a Samoa Girl Scout cookie? The greatest food in the world.
Samoa on a stick.
The greatest.
Just put about 8 of them.
Holder on a
Dunk and holder on a stick.
Which I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, what's that thing called?
Yeah, we could.
Those things on the wall.
Fatheads.
Fatheads.
Second place to Alabama.
Or Ted Lewis. Nope.
Poor Teddy Ball.
Legacy needs your trade-in truck, car, or SUV, so Legacy will pay you top dollar to get it. You'll get more
So
for your
Clancy's
trade
is one
and
of the
huge
places.
discounts.
I
Like
know you figured.
17 Terrain or Buick.
No, La Petite Grocery. I met somebody there for a drink, and they didn't have it on. And I asked them, and they go, can you put the Pelicans game on? They go, who? Oh my gosh. Who? It's like the NBA team from New Orleans. The problem in Clancy's wanted to put it on, but there was like 2 people that got there before. They came to watch it.
Yeah.
So it was cool. They were actually really
Jared
cool.
Craig led the research team at Case Western Reserve School of Medicine. The study was done on quadriplegic rats and mice.
There's some big convention in town. I drove through.
Yeah, I drive by there every morning.
Yeah, it was like people everywhere. I don't know what it is.
It's a big leap from rodents to people, but Craig says he's hopeful his study will be
All right, 1 minute.
to getting paralyzed patients off mechanical ventilators. San Francisco
All right,
is now the
Clyde.
first city
You
in
got
the nation
games
to
ready to
ban
rock?
sales
Yes.
of furniture
We'll
and
do that
children's
after,
products with
11:30.
flame
Okay.
retardant chemicals. Those chemicals are linked
About
to
winning the
types of
picks, by the way?
No, you're not.
including
I'm not. What about me?
iHeartRadio.
That's why I specifically didn't say anything to you.
What about me?
Free. And now with football season in full swing, let's be honest, most of your week is focused on your fantasy team.
So bad. I don't even I just off the top of my head. Which one sounds better? I'll just go with that. No research, no.
I know, you just, that
Wing
sounds
it.
good.
Wing it.
There's a girl in El Salvador call his own. No 2 dreams are the same. Help one person achieve.
Time for picks on a sticks.
Exactly.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wait.
All right, so you really want to get into the controversy with chicken on a stick, or are we past that?
Yeah, we can move on. It just seemed like a weird thing to take.
About either Ole Miss or Oxford or the state of Mississippi or whatever, and then to have this, crusade of chicken on us. It comes from a small town that used to have chicken on the stick a lot during the Shrimp Petroleum Festival. Shout out to Morgan City, Louisiana. That was one of the staples of the fair. Chicken on a stick, some good Chinese food, funnel cake.
Do you realize?
And seeing all the teenage girls when I was a teenager.
Do you realize that chicken tenders, and they don't put them on a stick?
They're
highly successful company.
That's not the point.
Yet.
Oh.
That's
They
gonna be
just
the
haven't
next,
evolved to the point of the
Popeyes
chicken on a stick.
That's going to be their next
philosophy.
That's going to be their next, like, for a limited time only kind of deal, like they do with like the $5 big box, and then the like popcorn chicken and shrimp. The next one's going to be, how to get my chicken.
Tom Benson.
Does he sound that way?
That's what it sounded like.
I've only heard him speak so often. I was trying to be the lady on the Popeyes commercials.
Yeah,
I caught where you were going.
Thank you,
Yes,
Larry.
I caught that. See, now I'm not a child anymore. Now
No, well, I mean, you still are, but I mean, we can agree to agree, though.
I
still am.
I am in the chicken on the stick. Everything.
Fill the potholes and a chicken on every stick.
Exactly.
Here we go.
Thank you. My campaign's gaining momentum.
Here we go. Why don't you give the listeners? You were currently. I'm going to reveal too much about your life. You're currently house hunting. You sent the picture, the text to Dave, and it was perfect. Why don't you let everyone know what this one house said that should be yours, but it's not going to be.
Well,
yours.
they had a campaign sign up at the house that is made by a local T-shirt producer that I thought was interesting. And the campaign slogan said, "Whoever can fix all the damn potholes for mayor." And I thought this was funny. I think we can all agree on that campaign platform.
Yeah.
Jeff's going to run for the pothole platform and the chicken on a stick.
Gumbo won't work.
Although if you could take like whole jambalaya,
spit on my computer,
mold it, and then deep fry it, and then you might be able to get that on a stick.
Gumbo on a stick. Let's do a raw oyster on a stick. I'll have that, please.
That would work. I'd do that.
That would be horrible.
I would do that.
What?
There's a place uptown that has chicken shawarma on a stick.
Ooh, that actually sounds really good.
Yeah, that sounds
like that's like a chicken kebab. I can see that, but not a chicken tender. Why?
Kebabs are extremely popular in New York City because when
They're
you're
easy.
when
You're
you're on the
mobile.
street, you're mobile. You need things you can eat while you're walking. That's one of the reasons
Why
they
you
have
have your
soup is very popular there because you can eat out of a cup while you're walking.
Exactly, because you can have and things like that.
You realize everywhere else in humanity, they just pick up the chicken tender and they just eat it. It's not on a stick.
Who has time for that?
Who has time for that, dude?
Time
This
for
is
that.
Do you understand that crumbs will fall on your face whether it's on a stick or not?
Not when I eat it. I'm a very efficient eater, and I like it on a stick. I like everything on a stick.
Just put a Samoa Girl Scout. Just put the Samoas on anything. It doesn't matter. Just whatever it is. Put it on there. We're eating it. Shoved it in our face. Shoveling it in.
This is what happens. You become Weird Al Yankovic, and you just eat it on a stick.
Trust me, people can look at me and know that.
Become a culinary show.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Stadium smell like corn dogs, and corn dogs are
No,
on
it
a
doesn't.
stick.
No, it
Yes,
doesn't.
that's true.
It does not.
According to Katy Perry, it does.
I think Katy Perry has bigger problems than what LSU smells like.
What are her big? What?
Is it time? Is it time to go to break? Dave, play the music.
No, it's
play
not.
The music, Dave.
It is not yet.
Glad is like a
corn dog brawl with Taylor Swift. Is that it?
Yes, that is still a thing.
Oh
Yes,
my
they still don't
gosh.
like each other. Someone's gonna have to extend the olive branch to the other one.
1 minute.
I personally don't care because I can't stand Katy Perry or Taylor Swift, so it doesn't matter to me.
I had some good intentions in this segment. I was going to talk about how Toby Weathersby is getting back at right tackle.
But we have a whole hour of show left. Come on, man.
But it flies by. 11:15, we're going to have Tulane Athletic Director Troy Dannon on, so we're going to be talking about Tulane and South Florida. Then we've got our pick segment, so no, we
30
don't
seconds.
have a lot. Like, we ruined a segment because
Ruined? No, we
of
didn't.
chicken on a stick.
we enlightened our audience.
Drifted it far, far away. So maybe we'll get him back here talking Saints-Packers next with our colleague Josh Katzenstein. Coming up here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're insane today, and we're Dunc and Holder.
That was pretty slick.
Well done. You think you all smart and learned it over there?
I'm all smart and junk.
Misery. And that's why I decided to go to Lark.
I never thought I would get my life back. I never thought I would get myself back. And that's what Narconon did for me.
Call Narconon today
From
at
Saturday Night Live.
877-959.
Oh, yeah, oops, I crapped my pants.
I'm
That's
wearing
lots and lots of ladders. And now through the end of November, select ladders come right to your door with free shipping from HomeDepot.com. Select from a 6-foot step ladder, an extension ladder for higher projects, or maybe a 22-foot adjustable multi-position gorilla ladder. Step up to great Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Offer valid on select ladders, online only.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280.
Fox Sports trending now.
The much anticipated NBA debut of Lakers guard Lonzo Ball is expected tonight as the Lin is likely done for the season. He suffered a ruptured patella tendon in his right knee during Wednesday's loss at Indiana, and the agent for Gordon Hayward said the surgery to repair the dislocated ankle and broken tibia went well, but it is unlikely Hayward will return this season. In college hoops news, and he said he has passed a lie detector test. And Colts quarterback Andrew Luck won't be practicing this week because of soreness in his surgically repaired shoulder. Bucs quarterback
We believe that the best Halloween ever is yours for the taking. That's why HalloweenCostumes.com/iHeart has over 10,000 costumes, including
All right, 4 minutes.
exclusive princesses in sizes infant to adult 8X. 10,000 options await you at HalloweenCostumes.com/iHeart. And why HalloweenCostumes.com/iHeart? Because we're partnering with them to get you 15% off. Go to HalloweenCostumes.
Rewards jump a lie on a stick.
Creditcards.com says about a third.
We have stuff on sticks.
I guess you can't put gumbo on a stick.
Yeah, you kind of can, dude.
But they've also increased interest rates to new records. Qualified workers comes in a close second.
Sounds
President
great.
Trump
Okay.
says his tax plan will help with the first problem.
We're cutting taxes on small businesses to a 40% tax.
Yeah, I'm like, who are all
During the
of
White
you?
House
What
photo
do you
op
do?
this week, Trump said
35 to 20% would increase average household income by $4,000 a year. And they'll go out and they'll spend that money.
many U.S. states would be in big trouble. Moody's Analytics says only 16 states have enough financial padding to sale of Virgin America to Alaska.
It's a good festival.
I told you my old girlfriend was from Berwick, and she
describes the
used to try to recruit me down there, and always
the brand that was voted
never
best
wins.
airline.
I was like, I'm not going down this. Now I'm kind of intrigued by it.
Starting another airline.
Especially if they're chicken on
And
a stick.
Halloween spending
chicken,
is
dude,
expected
under
to
the
be
bridge,
record-breaking
chicken on
again
a
this year. A
stick,
National Retail Federation
Chinese
survey
food,
predicts total
fun
What's the
spending
best
on
restaurant in
candy
Morgan?
costumes also a record. The number
Is
one
it-
Halloween
is it-
spending
is it
category
Canadian?
is costumes.
Yeah,
at
pretty much
I didn't know if it
anything
went that
pretty
far
much
down.
anything along the
Joe
the
McConnell,
Chaff Flyer or
NBC News
along
Radio.
pretty much south. Pretty much
nightmare. It is
really
hell.
anything along
What hell
like
would
that
be like, because
90
every day
corridor
is just
technically
misery.
country and/or-
And that's why I decided to go to Narconon.
I never
But
thought
yeah,
I
no,
would get my
it's,
life back.
I would-
I
yeah,
never thought I
there's
would get
a bunch of
myself back.
0098.
dad, and
That's
he doesn't have the owner of it.
877-959-0098.
Says original show The
butter on
Defenders
top or on the
averaged nearly
bottom,
6
like
million viewers the
great
week its first
Cubans.
in May,
It's-
had about
it's really,
4.5
really
good.
million
Hey, did I see,
viewers for
15
their
years?
season
Did I see
premieres.
that
For context,
World War
the
II
most
museum that
viewed
just had some big
primetime
event?
broadcast.
All right, we got Josh in about 30 seconds.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Does not yet report on other over-the-top services like Amazon. Facebook is headed back to the future with a new temporary profile status feature. Days of Facebook, when the news feed was filled with status updates instead of videos.
Yeah, why?
Some of us like to be
be
a little more refined, Larry, and keep our hands clean.
Look, I'm a man of the people. I'm a ruffian. That's how I do it here.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Exactly.
Sounds like a caveman.
Something.
Yeah,
Eat my chicken with my hands.
Sticks are the fanciest serving method there is.
Exactly. That's because everybody eats gumbo on a stick and. Overall sense, look, how much is this team actually say the to, say, the first 2 weeks of the season where they just looked
like a much different team. I mean, it's really crazy the turnaround that they've had because, I mean, you look at the way they hadn't turned the ball over in those first 2 losses, but, I mean, ultimately the defense was just so bad that have, everyone playing better no matter how small, of an improvement it is, that time here we've had, he talked about Marty's workout again, and he said that apparently after the workout, he said to someone, if we don't sign this guy after that workout, we should never bring him back again, because apparently his workout was just so impressive. So yeah, I would think that, he knows the role that Stupar was playing, and I think that, that would just be a natural fit for him to step right in and, probably play all 4, the core special teams. And, I'm sure the Saints will be trying not to miss a beat. I mean, because for the most part, their special teams have been good, except that, big, long punt return last week.
Josh Katzenstein, NOLA.com, Times-Picayune, Saints beat reporter, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. You look at the injury report, and there's not much to report, really, with the Saints. Only Teron Armstead and Willie Snead practicing on a limited basis yesterday. And, look, we know Armstead's going to play, but are you anticipating seeing more of Willie Snead? Because we didn't see a ton from him last week.
Yeah, I would think so. I think a lot of that had to do with the matchup, and even still, it was a little surprising we didn't see more of him because Snead, last year was probably their second best blocking receiver, and I would assume that's still the case, behind Brandon Coleman, and they were running the ball a lot, and, a lot of it was, them putting on extra tight ends or an offensive lineman with Josh Ribius to have a 6-1 out there sometimes, but yeah, I would think that Snead will start to play more. I mean, the Saints were pretty cautious, every time they talked about him. They're like, yeah, we'll see on Sunday, yada, yada, yada. So nobody really promised that he was going to step right back in and, play his typical 80% or whatever. But I do think, now that he's getting healthier, has a little bit more practice time, we'll see at some point he gets back to those numbers. I just don't know for sure if that'll be this weekend.
Yeah, Josh, we were talking here on the show yesterday about how dangerous this game is. I mean, the Saints have won 3 in a row. Everybody's hyping them. Sean Payton's phrase is "don't eat the cheese." It sounds like the players have their focus, but you're playing a team that has a young quarterback. He's not Aaron Rodgers. I think there's a dangerous element to this game in that you could easily overlook or underestimate the Green Bay Packers with Brett Hundley, but Brett Hundley is a very well thought of quarterback in the Packers organization, and they've got enough talent on offense around him. And with Mike McCarthy having a week to plan, I could see where this is not going to be a cakewalk by any means.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely a trap game if you guys want to use the buzzwords, because, if the Saints go in there and do anything, to overlook him or think that there's something that Hundley can't do, because that is an inherent challenge, not having a lot of regular season film on a guy. And obviously last week, it's hard to evaluate that because he was playing against a really good Vikings defense and, he really struggled. So, we don't know if Hundley will be successful for the Packers, but if he is, we don't know exactly how he'll be successful, in what ways he can beat them, because the Saints didn't really get to see that on film last week. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely a capable guy. And I mean, all the Saints have been saying things along those lines that, we can't overlook him. Like, he's been there learning the system for 3 years. He's working with the same coaches. Rodgers will be in his ear, able to help him, before the game, during the game, things like that. And the other thing, the Packers, their offensive line has been battered a little bit, but I mean, they're a very capable running team. And, now they have Ty Montgomery back, and this rookie Aaron Jones is very, looked good in the couple games that he was the main guy. So, I mean, the Packers are definitely someone that you can't just, pretend they're done because Aaron Rodgers is there, because they have a lot of talent on that team, and I think the Saints know that.
Josh Katzenstein, NOLA.com, Times-Picayune, Saints beat reporter. Hey, Josh, appreciate the time as always, bud.
No problem. That felt so short because we spent all that time talking about delicious chicken on a stick.
Nothing wrong with that.
Thanks, Josh, for taking up the cause. We appreciate it.
Boy, whatever. Chicken on a stick. Go away, Josh. Never come on the show again. Coming up next here on Dunc and Holder, Troy Dannon, Tulane Athletic Director. He's going to jump on the show, talk Tulane, South Florida, big matchup at Yulman Stadium, and Yulman Fest. Big festival. Why not? Hey, football and a festival in New Orleans sounds perfect to me, honestly. So we'll talk with Troy about that coming up here next. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
Action-packed.
He's at the 5, cuts back in, he's in the end zone, Michael, he's got it in the end zone! Touchdown Tulane!
Hard hit.
Running left side, Aruna's got him, asking you shall receive. They don't get it, we win!
That's the greatest call ever.
Tulane football.
Ever.
USF.
No, the greatest is the baseball call.
That's what I thought that was it.
Oh, no, it was football. No.
Ask it, he shall receive.
Oh, but he says
That's
that.
his phrase.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
But no.
No, the baseball call was.
A new study out
I
of
laughed
Ohio
so hard.
Hands down, the best. I heard it live. Like, I was listening to the game in my house and heard it live. I was like, this is incredible.
What's so funny about it, and I was telling Brett Martell this, is you can hear the clink of the bat. You know what I mean? Usually there's a little delay with announcers. You know, they kind of wait to collect their thoughts as they're, that's just how it works. That clink of the bat hit, and he immediately launches into. It's like,
bursts of electricity.
It just goes crazy right away. It's so awesome.
To breathe on their own. It's
Oh
a
my
big
God.
leap from rodents to people.
I love it.
Craig says
Well,
he's
you
hopeful
know
his
Jake
study
Rogers
will
was
be an
involved in the
important
Justin
step to
Verlander
getting
trade to the
current
Astros, huh?
associations.
1 minute.
Jake Rogers is a good player.
San
Oh, yeah.
Francisco
That guy's
is now
good.
the first city in the nation to ban sales of furniture and children's products with flame retardant chemicals. Those chemicals are linked to all kinds of health issues, including lower IQ in children. Health Update, Sarah Lee Kessler,
12 incredible
NBC
prizes.
News Radio.
Wine on
They
the
give it
River,
away at
presented
Yulman
by
Fest.
Southern Glazers, WGNO TV ABC, and NOLA 38, the CW.
Desi Vega
Saturday,
gift house
November
certificate.
11th at
Ooh,
Tournament
50
Aquarium
bucks.
Plaza.
Voodoo Fest.
You can go to town on
Voodoo
that.
Fest
On sale
VIP
now at
passes.
Man, I got
Pelicans
NOLA.com.
tickets, Saints tickets.
Proceeds benefit the Louisiana Hospitality
A lot of
Foundation.
stuff there to win.
St. Jude continues to advance by increasing cure rates in childhood cancer. And donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Learn more at stjude.org.
This is Dunc and Holder.
Welcome back to the show. Pleased to be joined by Troy Dannon, Tulane Athletic Director. And look, it's not just a big football game going on this weekend. Yulman Fest will be going on as well. And Troy, it's perfection. It's football. It's a festival. I'm just curious, like, why hasn't anyone else thought of this here in New Orleans or in Louisiana? Because it's the best of both worlds.
You know, we were sitting around as a staff talking about, hey, this is the first rated team to come into the stadium since it was built, and this is probably the best football team we've had since the stadium was built. And how do we, try to come up with a really a marketing scheme to get people involved? Let's get people to the stadium. We finally got a good start time. And that seems to be the way of the world in New Orleans, and we all kind of looked at each other like we probably should have been doing this since we opened the stadium. But Fest, I think, probably describes what we're trying to do is have a little fun and play a little football. You're right, it's a good combination.
Troy, I look up and out of the corner of my eye, I see something that kind of caught my eye, and up on top of the stadium, I think we finally have the Angry Wave statue. I know that's been a long time coming. It's been on my agenda for 2 years. Can you reveal that, or is that something we're going to surprise people with? I guess it's out.
You just revealed it if it was a surprise.
Good job, Jeff.
Sorry, yeah, we weren't going to tell anybody about it, Jeff. Thanks.
Sorry.
No, we weren't going to be able to cover it and leave it much of a surprise, and we're going to try to have a little fun with it. Yeah, we've been waiting on it patiently, and we owe a lot to Barry Kern for putting it together, and it's a 3,300-pound angry guy sitting up on top of there. And I took some pictures, just for perspective. The letters just on the megaphone alone are about 3 foot high. You put it up there and it looks tiny, but but it's 77 foot above the ground. We've got it lit. We'll do some pyro around it this weekend. Ultimately, we'll do some water features with it, some mist or something. But at least we could get it up this week. And again, just another reason to have a little fun with football.
Troy Dannon, Tulane Athletic Director, join us right here on Dunc and Holder. Of course, we're on Sports 1280, which is the flagship station for Tulane football and men's basketball. Troy, why don't you give our listeners kind of a snapshot of what Ullman Fest is going to be? I mean, it's not just your average, say, tailgating. I mean, you guys are going to be doing some major things, and obviously a great way to come out and have fun, support Tulane, all of it.
Yeah, and part of it, it's time to get people involved in the program again and get people around Uptown. Back in the day, I hear stories about everybody walking to the game and how it was the thing to do. And for us to really succeed in all ways, we got to get the community back involved with our program. And one of the ways to do it is maybe, as we said earlier, pitch it as more than a game, but a fun day all the way around, from the tailgating to we've collected all sorts of fun stuff to give away during the game. We'll have a fireworks show after the game, some pyro before the game. Having the actually, we're hoping for the weather, but 6 o'clock is probably the perfect start time. It's a nationally televised game, and again, given the two programs that are in there, this to me was the right time to try to send a wake-up call across the city that the Tulane football program's coming back, and we want to get you back in here to see it and be a part of it.
Troy, we're year 2 now in Coach Frist's tenure as the head coach at Tulane, and I know last week was a setback, certainly disappointing for everyone involved, but where do you evaluate where the program's at, and do you feel comfortable it is headed in the right direction under Willie Fritz?
I think it was heading in the right direction. I felt it was headed in the right direction about a week after he got here, and what he was trying to put in place. And from the very beginning, I think the philosophy needed to be we need to run an offense that is something that everybody in the league doesn't see every week they play. We have to be tough to prepare for, and we need to run something that requires discipline and execution. And if you look at the private schools that play FBS football, they're not out recruiting, with the exception of maybe Stanford and USC. They're not out recruiting most of the public schools. So, given that fact in mind, the kids that we're going to be able to recruit and entice to campus, an offense that fits them and they can excel in, and that's what Willie brought to the table. He's also technically, I don't know that I'd put anybody up against him X and O wise in our league. I think he's the best. He's done it for an extended period of time. So I love the direction he's got it going. I think most impressive to me was, and I saw the same thing in basketball with Coach Dunleavy, sometimes the guys don't always buy in to a new coach. They came here to do something under someone else, and now you got a new guy coming in saying, I want to do things differently. You don't know me, but here I am for you. But the guys bought in completely from day one, and that's why they've made, I think, quick and great strides. And they had a big hill to climb, because we were quite a little bit behind the rest of the schools of the league, and I think we've caught up to certainly the middle of that pack in the league, and have proven a couple of times that we can play with the top end teams in the league, and we're going to find that out again Saturday night when one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league's here.
Troy Dannon, Tulane Athletic Director, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. Troy, you look at kind of where this football team has come from, as far as from year 1 to year 2 with Willie Fritz, and it seems like you look at the style and this and that and the other. And was that something? I know you mentioned you wanted to have a coach that ran an offense within that, but it seems like, though, that Willie Fritz has done a good job, say, with getting a quarterback like Jonathan Banks, who I think he can run the offense, and yet he could still be versatile. He could still, throw the football. I mean, obviously, it's football has become such a passing game, but it seems like he's been able to kind of get a balance that, even though his offense is still more kind of ground and pound. Is that something maybe that you see, and kind of pleasantly surprised that that you have a quarterback and a team that can kind of do both?
Well, his offense is based on the premise that you have an elite athletic quarterback that can run and throw. And Glenn did a great job for us last year, but the running offense was not what he was recruited for, and it wasn't necessarily his strength. He threw the ball well for us. He was a great leader. Jonathan comes in and has that ability to do both, and as long as we have someone with that skill set at the quarterback position, Willie's offense can thrive. If you look at it, everybody on that offense is an underclassman right now, shy of the 2 running backs, and there's good running backs behind them, younger guys, and of course we have a transfer that's sitting out right now that was a 4-star player in high school. So, the offense is going to continue to get better and better and better, and Jonathan's going to continue to, I think he learned against Tulsa he can, when he's at his best, he can succeed strongly against the schools in this league. And I think we also learned, last week against FIU that if we're not all at our best, there ain't anybody, that we could walk into a field with and just beat because we have a name on our chest. So I think he's getting the right guys here, and they're developing. They're learning the offense. We're light years ahead of where we were last year just because of the knowledge these guys have from doing this now for a year and a half.
Talking to Troy Dannon, the athletic director at Tulane University. Troy, I want to switch gears a little bit and get your take on this FBI probe into college basketball. I'm curious to know from your perspective, how big do you think this is going to be? Do you think it's going to be wide-ranging and sweeping and maybe potentially lead to overhaul in the sport, maybe limiting the shoe company's influence on the game? And do you think it's going to be something that continues to carry on for the next year or so? Like, what impact do you think this is going to have on college basketball?
Well, first, I think I had the same reaction that most of my peers had. You almost wanted to stand up and applaud because I think while everybody's known there's been stuff going on, the ability of the NCAA, and the NCAA gets vilified for some things that it really doesn't have much control over. But, to have the feds involved with the power of the subpoena, I think it was a long time coming, and I think we're all looking forward to basketball looking a little bit different. And not just basketball, it happens in other sports, but basketball is where it's been the worst. I think there's a lot more to come. Just as a casual observer, you don't have a press conference and announce a bunch of assistant coaches are in trouble. This investigation is not after 4 assistant coaches, and so you assume there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, and we're going to hear a lot more. And whether it goes to the shoe companies or whether it elevates to other programs, obviously we saw what's happened at Louisville, and there's been a lot of reactions on everybody's campuses. Even on our campus, we sat down with we had about 10 people in the room with our coaching staff and just went through every aspect of the program, just so if there's any surprises coming on. I feel really good, and obviously it felt really good with everything about our program from that standpoint since Coach got here. And but it's forcing people to maybe look at things with a little more scrutiny. And my guess is, Jeff, that when the next shoe falls publicly, people are gonna gasp because it's going to be a bigger shoe than we've already seen drop.
Troy Dannon, Tulane athletic director, joining us right here on Dunc and Holden. One more time, Troy, before we let you run, just Yeoman Fest, kind of give the ins and outs, and obviously it's going to be a lot of fun, and certainly leading up to one of the bigger games we've seen in Yeoman Stadium with Tulane hosting South Florida.
Well, I don't think there's any question it's the biggest game we've seen. The opener is a big deal, but this is the biggest game we've seen. It's a chance for us. It's on a national stage with ESPN. Chance for us to play the highest-rated opponent we've had in the stadium so far. A fun night of football, a fun night of everything besides football. And the important part of the game for us is obviously what happens on the field. But for fans, to get fans in the stadium, you want the atmosphere to be fun and entertaining, and for it to be an event and not just a game. And so Yeoman Fest is really trying to turn this game into more of an event. We'll hope for great weather. Hope everybody gets out and sees it. Like I said, there's 2-for-1 tickets available, and I know as of last check a couple of days ago, certainly we're going to have the largest crowd we've already had this year, and I think we'd already sold more tickets than we had for any game that we had here last year. So we're expecting a good crowd, great environment, 2 great teams, and hope everybody in the community gets out and takes part in the Tulane football program.
All right, that's Troy Dannon, Tulane Athletic Director. Hey, Troy, appreciate all the insight. And, look, I'm going to be covering Tulane, South Florida this weekend, so I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah, it'll be a good time. And don't forget Yeoman Fest on Saturday at Tulane as well. Hey, Troy, appreciate the time.
Thanks, Troy.
I love talking to you guys, and thanks for talking Tulane football.
You got it right here on your flagship station of Tulane football here at Sports 1280. So let's come back. College Pick'em segment coming up next here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
Forecast on Sports 1280.
You see that dog?
New Orleans.
McCann, he does shots at the bar.
The dog?
Yes.
Does shots?
Yes.
Happy Thursday from the Fox 8 Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Shelby Latino, and we have a slightly warmer day on tap with temperatures climbing into the low 80s. We'll still see mostly sunny skies, and overnight tonight we'll fall into the 60s on both sides of the lake. Looks like a little more humidity is in store for tomorrow as temperatures climb into the mid-80s. We'll stay mostly dry with just a stray shower or two around. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shelby Latino. Have a great day.
What about Who Dat Cat? Bring back Who Dat Cat.
That was a disaster.
Who Dat Cat? Oh, yeah.
More coffee for just $1 anytime at McDonald's. Limited time. Participation may vary. See McDonald's.com/app for details.
Okay.
McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Each championship series, one game from wraps in the Major League Baseball postseason. The Yankees started Wednesday's action with a 5-0 shutout of the Astros in Game 5 of the ALCS. New York won all 3 games at home to take a 3-2 lead in the best of 7. Aaron Judge on being 6-0 in the Bronx this postseason.
That's why Doug does.
Doug's bring in this stadium's alive. It's nothing like I've ever seen before.
Back to Houston for Game 6 tomorrow. The Cubs stave off elimination, getting a 3-2 win over the Dodgers in Game 4 of the NLCS at Wrigley Field. LA tries to close it out again tonight.
Shit, look at this hatred.
Because I feel so sad.
Because Jimmy Butler's Minnesota debut with the Timberwolves with a 107-99 win in San Antonio. Eminem on hand helping welcome the Pistons back downtown after playing NBA games in the Detroit suburbs since 1978. The Pistons then beat the Hornets 102-90 to Chris in the arena. That's Sports, Jay Courtney, NBC News Radio.
Oh, and
yeah, that's what's going
like
on.
Cut
your hair,
like a bounce back tour.
All right, 30 seconds.
Nose ring, and
most of them for kidneys. The good news is that MatchingDonors.com is helping to
But she
change.
kissed a girl and she liked it.
I know.
Yeah, she did. She kissed a girl.
That links organ donors with people in desperate need.
Maybe she'll kiss the dog that does shots. I don't know.
Oh, car or real estate with 100% of the proceeds going to help save the lives
this segment's
of
going to
people
be
needing organ
pitiful.
transplants. Visit
So
MatchingDonors.com.
You're so terrible. One of these days, you're going to have a great week.
I had like 1 or 2.
I know he's going to have Florida State Blue on there. It's a disaster.
We bleed purple, green, blue, black, and gold. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Clyde's time to shine. I already
get a little bit of Weezer. I like that.
I already see the giddy smile on his face. He just wants to tout his.
I always have that face.
College football
I don't care what you
pick'em
say.
prowess and just
Clyde usually
humiliate me.
Clyde's always ebullient.
Yeah,
he's like a.
I like. Thank you, Jeff. Yes, it's a great word.
Except when you talk about Katy Perry, which he.
I wouldn't say that.
True.
I would say about that now.
Katy Perry.
I don't hate Katy Perry. That's
Yeah,
not
what'd she
true.
do to you?
That's not true. We just talked about it. She came out, and I mean, I don't know if this has anything to do with John Mayer, which, by the way, shout out to John Mayer.
I nickname him the Whisperer because he sings every song like he's whispering.
Thought is a wonder.
Clyde's like the Casey Kasem of our show. He's shout outs to everybody.
Request a dedication.
Shout out to Katy Perry.
And with that, we're going to jump right into the top 20.
See, Dave is on it. She kissed a girl and she liked it.
And again,
what's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with that. I told you. Like, I'm down with old Katy Perry, new Katy Perry. I just can't jive with. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
You're just pissed because
I'm sorry.
Ole Miss.
He didn't return his phone call.
I can't believe I'm spinning this. Ole Miss has now deemed her halftime Super Bowl performance prop costume guy the Shark because Ole Miss is now the Land Sharks. Do you know this? The mascot is a land shark.
Well, I thought that was the name of their defense a few years ago.
It was, but Ole Miss, the student body, has they petitioned the university to ask to change from the Rebel Bear to the Land Shark.
What's the Rebel Bear?
What they changed the mascot to from
Johnny
like Colonel
Reb.
said,
I thought it was Johnny Reb.
It was.
I don't think that's very politically correct
exactly,
anymore.
Jeff, because that's where we're getting to next.
No, I'm just saying.
So they made it a bear.
That was their old mascot.
Right.
I didn't know that they changed to the Rebel Bear.
Yes, they changed to the Rebel Bear because clearly, Dixie, the South, things.
But what's a bear got to do with anything?
What would... The bear doesn't have. The bear has nothing to do with it outside of the fact of you can't probably put the old mascot and claim political correctness.
No, I understand.
You just had to pick an animal.
Why did you pick a bear?
Well, no, they had a bunch of. Just the bear was the best one. Yeah, of course. The joke was that everybody wanted to make it General Akbar from Star Wars.
I remember that.
That'd make Dave happy.
Dave would have voted for that a zillion times.
It's a trap. It's a trap. That's why exactly. So they wanted to make it. Colonel Akbar from Star Wars, but of course not. So they made it the Rebel Bear. Now it's going to be the Land Shark, and they're going to put all this new stuff to it. So
a shark. What is that?
Shark, yeah.
So that's why you hate Katy Perry.
Yeah, that's it. Because of the corn dogs and then ruining Baker
sharks.
Mayfield.
Ole Miss deserves all this mayhem because they had that stupid mascot forever and.
So Jeff had the best week of everybody last week at 7-3.
Can we talk about this for a little bit? Let's spend a whole segment talking about my brilliance.
I was 5-5. Larry was 4-6. I am still leading at 34-26. Jeff is second at 29-31, and Larry pulling up the rear at 26-34. So guys, let's jump into this week. Big talk, or at least a team that I don't think we've been talking about at all. The number 5 team in the country, the Wisconsin Badgers. Hosting Maryland. Yes, they are.
They get to be number 5.
Exactly,
because
right?
half the top 10 lost last week.
That's also true. Dropped. So, Wisconsin, the number 5 team in the country, hosting Maryland. Wisconsin is a 24-point favorite in Camp Randall. Jump around.
Oh, I'll be up that way. Josh Katzen's team actually staying in Madison before the Green Bay Packers game, and I'm taking the Terrapins.
I'm going to agree. That's too many points. Maryland.
Give me Maryland. Wisconsin will have a letdown lead. Eat the cheese.
24 points is a lot, even for a number 5 team in the Big Ten that we still do not know anything about. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Maryland as well. All right, guys, going to the ACC. Syracuse at Miami. Miami is a 17-point favorite down on South Beach.
Oh, I'm going Cuse, man. Come on, they're rolling. They might lose by 14, but hey, Cuse, come on. They took out Clemson. Should have beat LSU.
I'm going the other way. Canes.
Yes, Jeff. Yes. See, that's why Larry pulls up the rear all the time.
What? I see the trap. I don't fall in the trap.
He's a bear trap stepping in.
Yeah, dude. Like you can see a bear trap that's like the size of a football field, and you'd be like, "Let me jump in that." Okay.
I'm the guy chasing the dollar, and the guy's got it on a fishing pole, and I'm like just reeling, and I keep chasing that dollar.
Also accurate. All right, guys. Third game on the list. Really, really big game. Michigan at Penn State. Penn State now the number 2 team in the country after, as Jeff said, all of the chaos last week in the top 10. Penn State in Happy Valley is a 9.5-point favorite against Michigan.
Michigan.
Penn State. I think Michigan's way overrated.
I think Penn State's a fraud. Come on.
All right. Well, actually, neither one of them might be that good.
Right.
I'm still saying Penn State.
Saquon Barkley. Yeah, he's going to be the game changer in this one. I don't think Michigan, which what we've seen all year, has been a team that's probably worth as lofty of a ranking as they still have. I don't see the upset here. Going with the Nittany Lions in Happy Valley.
He's the real deal.
He's definitely the real deal.
That guy's
There's
a player.
no doubt about that.
He'll be another one of those backs steps in next year to the NFL.
It'd be like Zeke Elliott, Leonard Fournette, Barkley. Yes, he will. I totally agree there. Yes.
All right, guys.
But I'm still taking Michigan.
Okay. All right, guys. Next game.
Going down in flames.
Historic rivalry. This one's going down in South Bend. USC at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 3.5-point favorite.
Wow.
In the South Bend.
That's a tough game.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Both could be sketchy at times.
I'm taking Notre Dame. I'm taking Notre Dame. I think they're going to rally.
And this is Notre Dame, number 13 in the country.
You know, their only loss
USC is 11.
Was that Georgia game that was like a nip and tuck game all game?
I'm going to go Notre Dame too. I just think Sam Darnold, for as much touting he receives, and he might not. His stats aren't eye popping or anything. Now, will he be a good pro quarterback? I think so, but still, I just think that I'm gonna go touchdown Jesus with old Notre Dame.
I never picked Notre Dame in anything, so USC on that one. Never. So that's that.
Look at that principle.
I never picked Notre Dame in anything. I
hates Katy Perry and Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame.
He hates Katy Perry and Jesus.
That's not true. That is not. Hey now.
What's going on down there,
What's
Morgan?
up with that?
Hey now.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of heathen lifestyle, clearly. All right, guys. Now this game, the only reason it's being talked about is because it is a primetime matchup on Fox this weekend. Kansas at TCU.
Wait, this is in prime time?
This is in prime time.
Kansas
at TCU.
It's a primetime game?
It's a primetime game.
The spread is massive.
Yeah, no. Spread for this game, 39 points.
I'm going TCU. I'm going to go TCU. See the trap? Jump right into the trap.
Jump right into the
TCU, that's me.
I'm taking TCU. The Jayhawks. I'm taking those Parents. That's too much lumber. I'm taking
Have you seen Kansas play?
6 touchdowns.
6 touchdowns.
Basically,
pretty much. Like, they need to cover that. I think they cover that. So we're going to go with TCU on this.
I
don't like this, Jeff. I don't like this, but we're going to go with this one. All right, guys. Next, coming down to the South, finally, Kentucky at Mississippi State. Mississippi State in Stark Vegas, an 11-point favorite.
Easy for me. I'll go against Kentucky in everything I do. So Mississippi State.
No, Kentucky.
I hope they win by 50.
Ooh.
UK is going to win straight up.
They're 12-point underdogs.
Mississippi State's not that good. Kentucky.
I don't care.
Straight up.
Cowbell City, baby.
Yeah, same thing. Going with Kentucky.
I may go over there.
There's no way.
That Cowbell posse.
You know they fired Tom Jurich yesterday.
Next game.
Speaking of Louisville at Florida State. An athletic directorless football
Look at this
team.
giddy smile he's got. Boy, he's just needling you.
Florida State is not only that. Florida State is a 7-point favorite. Maybe Rick Pitino will have something in this line too. Who knows?
I'm taking Louisville. I've been going against my alma mater, but we are going to rally in the midst of adversity.
I'm going to go Louisville as well.
Yeah, thank you, Larry.
You got it.
Yeah,
just for you,
reveling
buddy.
over there with the fired athletic director, guys.
Yeah. Hates Katy Perry and hates land sharks.
I just had to joke with.
And
I mean, I'm
Notre
going with
Dame.
Louisville on this one too. So I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever. Louisville's athletic department's in shambles, so it's fine.
He's just so downright giddy over there.
It's great.
Crushing Jeff's hopes
What
and
did Louisville
dreams.
do to you?
Well, you're right. Louisville didn't do anything to me because when I was not here and I was at my other job, we beat Louisville in football too. So literally, it's been good.
I wonder where that other job was.
I wonder what the other place was.
I can't say anything. They got dominated.
All right, guys. So third to last game before we get into our big two, Oklahoma. Finally, we get to a game where the visitor is actually the favorite in this one. Oklahoma at Kansas State. Oklahoma is a 13.5-point favorite in the Little Apple.
Man, are we going to pull for the Fighting Herbies or what?
Yes.
Shout out
Herbie
to
Teope, I'm on the bandwagon. The Wildcats, the good Wildcats, I will take. 13
and a half, yes.
Okay, I'll take
plus
them.
13.5.
I mean, Oklahoma lost to a backup quarterback with Iowa State. That's not good.
But they could kind of sneak their way back into the national
We
picture.
talked about this.
They could.
Was it yesterday or
Right.
2 days ago? I agree. I think Oklahoma, if there's a team that can shoot up and actually give Alabama some fits, I think it would be them because of their quarterback.
And Ohio State, too. Their only loss was Oklahoma, right?
Right.
Yes.
So those two programs, even though they lost early, I think they could be factors down the stretch.
They
'cause
could.
People keep losing.
TCU is really the only team right now that controls his own destiny. So
I'm going Oklahoma.
Yeah, you know what? I'm taking Oklahoma.
Oh, well,
of course.
I'm flipping. Sorry,
Flipping.
Herbie. I like Oklahoma in this one.
yeah, sorry, Herbs. We gotta go with Oklahoma on this one. All right, guys. So obviously we're gonna stay local now. Going into Yeoman Stadium, we just talked about it with Tulane Athletic Director Troy Dannon. South Florida, a ranked South Florida team at Tulane. South Florida is a 11.5-point favorite.
Dang, that's a tough game.
I know. I was waiting for you to maybe have a bigger spread, and I was going, Tulane, easy.
I'm going to take Tulane. I think they're going to play them close.
Night game.
Game means more to Tulane, much more to Tulane. So I like their motivation in that one, especially coming off a bad performance.
You know what? I'm going to pick Tulane just to suck up to Troy Dannon.
At least he's honest.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Otherwise,
take Tulane.
I hope he's still listening to this, just so they can give you crap if you would have given you if you'd have picked South Florida.
No, look, I do think that Tulane can bounce back. They're not. I don't think there's some team that's going to kind of go in the tank. Look, I think they can bounce back, and they know it's a big game, and they play their style of football, and it could be tight. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pick South Florida to win. Sorry,
but
Troy
you know
Dannon.
what?
But I picked them to cover.
But as Graf said on our show the other day, I think South Florida scored over 30 points, 23 straight games. That's an insane statistic. So Tulane has got to score points, obviously, because South Florida is going to get theirs. So they've got to get in the 20s, or else it's going to be ugly.
Both teams are 4-2 against the spread this year, so it's a tough one. You're right. I mean, if you're looking at, and of course, what I'm looking at right now, the predicted score of South Florida at 45.4 and Tulane at 21. Yeah, I mean, it's 11.5 is, I think they can keep it within 11.5. I really do. And they, especially if they have a good crowd with what they have going on, they can pull this one out. So I'm going to go with Tulane as well. All right, guys, so we get to the last one of the weekend. LSU, 7-point favorite at Ole Miss. Who you got?
Tigers. I think the Tigers roll in this one. I like them. I like them a lot in this game. I think Ole Miss is toast. They're in disarray. Their program's in disarray. I think LSU is trending upward. They are a program with a bullet.
Hopefully we aren't jumping the shark.
Oh, God.
Give me that. Give me that.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm gonna beat my head
over there?
Give me the sad trombone there, Dave.
It's going to be shark on a stick is what it's going to be.
Beat my head on this microphone. Perfect. That is perfection.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Although that'd be a rubbery shark on a stick, though. Larry.
I am going to go with, not straight up, but I'm going to go with Ole Miss. I just think LSU, they had to scratch out a win in Florida. They had to furious comeback against Auburn. I'm just not buying them to be some dominant team yet, and I think it's going to be close. LSU can win, but I think it's going to be close.
But you don't think that 7 points is a reasonable margin after what they've done?
They might win by 4. I don't know. I just don't trust them. Right.
Well, if you've read some of our stories, which, by the way, if you go read our stories from our fantastic writers and Andrew Lopez, Chris Dave, and Ron Higgins.
He's sucking up to them, and he's just ripping you, Jeff.
Well, because it's easy to, because he's here, and I don't get to see those guys.
Ripping Katy Perry, ripping Jesus.
The LSU defensive backs say that the Ole Miss wide receivers are some of the best, that they will go up against the SEC all year. So they're up for the challenge. And obviously, with what we've seen with guys like, Evan Ingram and guys like that, the last couple of years come through, they do have a good receiving core. And watching and seeing some of the scores, they put up a lot of points against some really good defenses. LSU's going to win, but I think Ole Miss is going to make it a little bit close, so I'm going with Ole Miss as well.
Smart man.
Too much time on this.
Why do you think he's so much better than us?
Staying up all night.
I don't even know the
Staying
games.
up all night.
Probably like calling coaches on the opposing staff.
I don't even know which games he's picking.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people, man. I'm very, very well read and very, very known in many circles.
Very known
in various circles.
Yeah. Well, your time's up on this segment.
Boy, wow, Jeff is just.
Wow, Jeff. Wow, man, you're just gonna throw me out with the bathwater, huh, dude?
Exactly.
Calling
with
it
more than
a
enough time to
day.
spare for some commercials and a really good segment.
Started
to end
picking
it.
on my alma mater.
Well, man, I mean, it's easy to, but I mean, I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Well, as Troy Dannon said, there are more shoes to drop. So don't get too comfortable over there.
Pun intended.
That was really good. Pun intended.
Pun
Shoes
intended.
to drop. Nike,
Shoes.
Adidas. Well, no one's buying Under Armour, so we won't talk about them. But it's fine.
Hey, some people buy Under Armour.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Maryland's an Under Armour.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, a lot of bad things about that too.
One final segment here. So come on back. Sports 1280 NOLA.com and the iHeartRadio app with Dunc and Holder.
In a transcendental way.
See, that wasn't boring. That was a fun segment.
Mary Moon, she's a vegetarian.
Sweet baby Jesus. What just happened there?
I love that song.
There's something happening.
You know, I tried to get it on Spotify, and you can't get it. Is there like some songs that aren't, some artists that aren't?
This is not a 7-9.
What's that all about, Dave?
Sports 1280. New Orleans.
He doesn't know.
Zika is
Dave's
still a
not
threat,
around.
and its effect on an unborn child can be devastating. To prevent
Why would you
Zika,
not
use
want to be
insect
on there?
repellent and
Seems like
condoms and dumb standing water. Let's keep stopping Zika. Visit CDC.
Oh, this is where I think we're tapping into something. You like
in your attic,
Spotify
fully covered means
stockholder
fully
or something?
insulated. You can see your ceiling joists. You're losing heat.
Why do you care if they don't?
But you can easily add blow-in insulation yourself, and the Home Depot can help. The proper amount of insulation keeps your house warm and your energy bills down. And when you need more, it shows. Cover up before winter gets here. Save on insulation and get a free blow-in machine rental with any 10-bag purchase. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Sports 1280 urges you to make a donation to help out the family of Marcus McNeil. The NOPD officer shot and killed in the line of duty during the early morning hours of October 13th. Officer McNeil leaves behind a wife and 2 small children. You can help by donating what you can.
Oh, you know what? I realized
a message
next
from Sports
Wednesday I got
1280
to bail
communities helping to make a difference in New Orleans.
A new study out of Ohio offers hope to patients who are paralyzed and on respirators because of severe spinal cord injuries.
Okay.
What we found is a network within the spinal cord that can allow the diaphragm to contract independently of the normal breathing network.
Well, shoot, I might have.
Jared Craig led the research team at Case Western Reserve School of Medicine. The study was done on quadriplegic rats and mice. Researchers used drugs that induced bursts of electricity, enabling paralyzed rodents to breathe on their own. It's a big leap from rodents to people.
Yeah, I'll see. I mean, if he like says,
"Oh, I want to do it,"
will be
an important step to getting paralyzed patients off mechanical ventilators. San Francisco is now the first city in the nation to ban sales of furniture and children's products with flame-retardant chemicals. Those chemicals are linked to all kinds of health issues, including lower IQ in children. Health Update, Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Join the TJ Martell Foundation in the fight against leukemia, cancer, and AIDS.
It's like
Your
some
support
lawyers
helps facilitate cutting-edge research that will lead
Coming
to
back.
effective treatments and save more lives. Visit tjmartell.org to learn more.
Dunc and Holder now. Josh Innes next at noon on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
One more segment here, Dunc and Holder. You missed any of the show, sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube page. You can check out our show after the fact whenever you want. You can watch the video, watch Jeff get ridiculed all show by Clyde. What's up with that, man? Now you just threw him out.
He got a little, got his feelings hurt and left. What the hell's that all about? Riding on Tom Jurich losing his job. That's not a good thing.
Why not?
It's not good for Louisville athletics. It's not good for Tom Jurich and his family. It's disastrous. I can't believe they fired the best athletic director in the industry. He'll have a job, as Rob Ryan said, what, in 5 seconds?
5 seconds.
Yeah. Rob Ryan does have a job. He's now an NFL analyst for, I think, Fox Sports 1 or somebody like that. I can't remember who it is.
Well, they're doing a little bit better without Rob Ryan. And it's an interesting tweet that I saw from Dan Hanzus from NFL.com, and it's pretty staggering, just the turnaround that the Saints had. And I'm going to be writing more about this in my First and 10 column that will be published tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, and then it'll be in print in the Times-Picayune tomorrow. But you look at the Saints, I'm just going to rattle off some of these numbers. And this is the first 2 games compared to the last 3 games. Of course, first 2 games are 0-2. Now they're 3-0 in the last 3 games. Points per game, 19.5 points compared to 35.3 points. Points per game allowed, 32.5 points in the first 2, only 17 in the last 3 games. Of course, they have the second longest active winning streak, which I know you pointed out, because the Eagles have 4 wins in a row. And this is eye-popping, and it's literally highlighted in his tweet. The Saints have been the NFL's best team since Week 3 by several measures, including point differential and sack differential. Their point differential is plus 55. That's best in the NFL right now in the past 3 games. Turnover differential +6. That's tied for 3rd best in that span. And their sack differential, which of course means the amount of times they sacked a quarterback compared to how many times Breeze gets sacked, +11 leads the NFL in the past 3 weeks. Also, since week 3, the Saints are 6th best in points per game allowed, 4th best in yards per game, 2nd in yards per play, 7th in yards per gain allowed, and 2nd in passer rating allowed. Jeff, they're getting it done. I mean, that's you never hear those stats really compared to a Saints team in the past few years. And I'm curious, like you said, I think it's a tricky game when they go up to Lambeau, but it is certainly going to be one where they're going to walk in with confidence, and those stats just show you why they should be confident.
Well, I wrote a column, backslap here. I guess it was week 3 when they were still 1-2, pointing out that their numbers were still, they were playing winning football even though they weren't really winning at 1-2. They weren't turning the ball over. They were running the ball efficiently, and they were doing some things defensively that weren't showing up because they'd given up some big plays, but they were keeping their penalties down. All the things that Sean Payton, you and I have heard Sean Payton over and over talk about these things. They were doing them. It just wasn't showing up early on, and it's continued on since then. And it's the formula we hear Drew Brees talk about all the time. The Saints are producing it right now, and it's showing on the playing field. You just don't see teams in the NFL win consistently the way the Saints are winning. Three times in a row they've won by 14 or more points in a league that's very even. You cannot discount that. This team is a factor right now.
No doubt about it. And you look at the way, like I said, when I wrote my column a couple days ago about the blitzing habits. I mean, it's a team that feels confident. It's a coaching staff that feels confident in the players on defense. And I do think the offense is still a little sluggish. I think they can get that thing fixed. I mean, that's one thing where, okay, we've seen maybe some lulls in seasons, but that's one thing.
Got about 2 minutes.
If the defense continues to play like it is and the offense can get back on track, look out. I mean, like you said, you wrote after the game, the NFL is going to have to start paying attention to the Saints. But given that, if they go into this game and tank it, which I don't think they will, but if they go into this game and lose to a Aaron Rodgers-less Packers team, I mean, it's you know the way this league is. 1 week you're high, next week you're low, and you never know what's going to happen.
By the way, I continued my 3rd consecutive day of getting a Twitter poll up, and we will talk about it tomorrow.
But you just made one.
Yes, but I got it up in time, right before the end of the show.
Right in time? You should have
we're going to talk about it tomorrow on the show.
What?
I asked which is the best team in the NFC South. I think it'll be interesting to see what people say because it's pretty much wide open right now.
I think it's way wide open.
I think Tampa Bay is the worst. I don't know. I'm not a believer in them. I'm not a believer in them. And right now, you'd have to say the Atlanta Falcons, they're lucky to be 3-2.
Yes.
I mean, they barely beat the Bears, and they barely beat the Lions on a crazy call. Or they could be looking at 1-4 right now, and their one win being against the Green Bay Packers.
I almost tend to agree with you with Tampa. I
don't know.
Yeah, I feel like their offense can just stagnate at times. So, all right, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that tomorrow because I think it's going to be interesting.
So, I want to thank Troy Dannon. Want to thank Josh Katzenstein. Want to thank Neil McCready. Appreciate all of that, and good show today. Even though Clyde hates Katy Perry and hates land sharks, and I hate chicken on a stick.
Yeah, y'all are kind of getting old and crotchety.
Definitely crotchety.
The soapbox is back, and you just jumped on my soapbox. I like it.
Absolutely.
5 seconds.
So come on back tomorrow, Duncan Holder. See ya.
My son Aiden has asthma.
Thanks, bud.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
See you later.
See ya.
Yeah, that went
Ended
quick.
up in the emergency room and spent
We're just
multiple
riffing, it goes
nights
quick.
in intensive care.
Well, plus
Now he's on a whole bunch of medications.
All right.
My tip to you is
Gonna go home and write.
don't be shy about telling people not to smoke around your kids.
Half of U.S. kids are exposed to secondhand smoke. If you or someone you know wants help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Allison is perfect.
I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect.
Yeah,
she likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird gear.
Well, we're gonna have dairy, and then we can probably. When's the last? Do we have?
Allison, no, that's the exact opposite
Yeah,
of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good.
Yeah, get Jimmy, and then I'll get dairy. They'll do 10:30, 10:45. And then I can.
WODT, WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app.
Yeah, we really hadn't played much.
1280.
Yeah, maybe we could get some sound from Alvin from last night or something. Talk a little Pelicans or something since they'll have their own.
Yeah, I thought about trying to do that, and I was just like,
well, we can do it tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because they'll have their home opener.
Right.
So
well,
we
might
need to
have
talk a little
some.
bit about that.
We might have some.
You'll be covering it, so.
Right.